we learned about heat, right? We learned about the factors. There are 3 factors. Heat is given. How do you talk of heat energy? Which some symbol do you use for heat energy? You use the symbol Q. Okay, and it depends upon mass. C is specific heat capacity of the substance, and delta T is the increase in temperature. That is why delta is given. T is not given. Why T is not given? Because it's not temperature, it is increase in temperature of the substance. Okay, so that is why we put a delta T, right? Now Q is equal to MC delta T. That was the equation. Now C is the specific heat capacity. C, there are 2 things, C dash and C. Okay, now C is specific to a particular material. Okay, C is specific means if I take a material copper, always the value of specific heat capacity of copper will always be fixed. Okay, specific heat capacity of copper will always be fixed. It will never change, right? Because it is specific to a particular substance. But the heat capacity C dash depends on mass, how much mass of the substance I have taken. So that can keep on changing. So C, the formula for specific heat capacity, Q upon M delta T, and C dash is only Q upon delta T, right? So the 2 formulas, please remember. In C dash, you don't have mass in the denominator, but in C, that is specific heat capacity, you have got mass in the denominator, right? So now, after this, now we are going to see the numericals. Okay, so I will share the screen. So we will do exercise 11A, the numericals. Now, everybody open the books to numericals because that is the most, then I will discuss the other questions later on. Okay, I want to do the numericals, page 270, numericals of exercise 11A. Okay, now the first numerical, it says that in imparting heat to a body, its temperature rises by 15 degrees Celsius. What is the corresponding rise in the temperature on the Kelvin scale? Now they are asking you only about rise in temperature. They are not asking you to compare Celsius and Kelvin. Okay, so as much as the rise is there in Celsius, same kind of rise will be there in Kelvin also. So if there is a 15 degrees Celsius rise in temperature in Celsius scale, same amount of temperature will rise on the Kelvin scale also. So there will be a 15 Kelvin. The rise in temperature on the Kelvin scale will be 15 Kelvin. So that's the only answer. Okay, over here. Now, from second onwards, we have to do the sums. So now let's try to understand the sums. Okay, now look at the second one, everyone. Okay, after I complete the sum, you can ask me the doubts. Okay, after the sum is completed. Fine. Now see the second one. You have to calculate the heat capacity. Go on noting down. Heat capacity, you have to calculate C dash. Okay, heat capacity of the copper vessel of mass 150 grams. I have written the mass as 150. Specific heat capacity of copper is given. Specific heat capacity 410 joules per kg per Kelvin. Okay, so the specific heat capacity is given. Now calculate the heat capacity, if the specific heat capacity of the vessel is, and how much heat energy will be required to raise the temperature from 25 degrees to 35 degrees Celsius. So that is also given, that we have to know the heat energy. Now first we have to find heat capacity. Now heat capacity and specific heat capacity, there was one relationship I had told you. Anybody else is there? Rishabh and Kanchan, please join on time. See, because of you all again my share screen is gone. I have to go on going to the waiting room and then I miss my share screen. 9 o'clock is the class and you all are coming at 9:12. It is not allowed. Next time I am not going to allow you to enter the room.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
There is nothing like sorry. Every time now I missed my share screen now again because I go back over there and then I'm not able to teach them. It's the other people's fault that you people are coming late. Next time I will not allow. Kanchan also. Last warning to you.
Okay,
I will
ma'am.
not allow next time.
Okay.
Okay. So
if you log in with your phone also, then you can put the thing
I
there.
don't want to do all that. So now specific, I don't want to give options. They have only one thing. They have to join at 9 o'clock. Now see the relationship between heat capacity and specific heat capacity. C dash equal to M into C. When I had discussed in the PowerPoint, I had given you this. Okay, remember this. Heat capacity C dash is equal to, see, coming now, mass multiplied by specific heat capacity. So the mass is 150 gram. Please convert to kg. Always convert grams to kg. We have to talk in SI units. So 0.15 multiplied by 410. 410 is the specific heat. So you get 61.5. Children, in this chapter, you will be very much confused with the units. Please remember, see the heat capacity, joule per Kelvin, because it is only Q upon delta T. The formula for heat capacity is Q upon delta T. So Q heat energy joule and delta T temperature Kelvin. Okay. So Q, so heat capacity, I multiply this. So I get the answer 61.5 joule per Kelvin. Now the next thing they have asked you, find the heat energy. Okay. So in order to find the heat energy to increase the temperature, now the temperature is given delta T 35. Okay, from 25 you have to increase it to 35 degrees Celsius. So we will find delta T. So delta T will be 35 minus 25, that is 10, right? So now you have to find out, what do you have to know? How much energy will be required to increase the temperature from 25 to 30. So Q, I have to find out Q. So I will use the formula C dash equal to Q upon delta T. Okay, right? Now Q upon delta T, simple formula, I already have C dash 61.5. So 61.5 is equal to Q upon delta T. Delta T is the rise in temperature, that is 10, right? So Q will be 61.5 multiplied by 10. So the heat energy is 615 joules. Now, what is the first thing that you should know? All the formulas. Very important. So you have to learn the formulas. Heat capacity, these formulas are very simple. Heat capacity, delta Q upon delta T. C dash equal to Q upon delta T. C, that is specific heat capacity. Q upon M, there will be M delta T. Q upon M delta T. And the relationship you should know between C and C dash. So C dash equal to M multiplied by C. Write this somewhere and go on learning this. Okay. And the next thing that you have to learn is the principle of calorimetry. That is the heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body, that we have done the sum. These 4 formulas are there. Only these 2-3 formulas you should learn, but and definitely numericals are asked, and that also 4 marks. Let me tell you, totally 4 mark numericals will come from this chapter. The part B will definitely have a numerical on calorimetry, and part A has got many questions also, right? So again, is this followed C? The mass was given, specific heat capacity was given C. Okay, you had to find heat capacity. So to find heat capacity, I use the relation C dash equal to M into C. So I take the mass, convert it into kg, 0.15 multiplied by C. C is given 410. So I got the heat capacity 61.5 joules per Kelvin. Now the next part, B part, I have to calculate the heat energy. So the heat energy, I use again the formula C dash equal to Q upon delta T. I can also use the formula C equal to Q upon M delta T. There is no problem. I've got the mass. I've got the specific heat capacity, everything. But why I don't want to use it? Why should I add one more quantity M? Simply at all, I am increasing my calculation. That's all. Okay. So I will not use that formula. I'm using a simple formula, C dash equal to Q upon delta T. So I've got C dash 61.5. Q, I do not know, delta T, the rise in temperature. So Q equal to 615 joules. Okay. Fine. Okay, now see the third question. Page number 271. There is a piece of iron of mass 2 kg. Okay, so the mass of the particular substance is 2 kg, it has a heat capacity. The minute you see heat capacity, it becomes C dash. Okay, so C dash 966 joules per Kelvin. Okay, I have written C, it is joules per Kelvin. Okay, now find heat energy to warm it by 15 degrees Celsius. So I want to know Q. Okay, now Q to warm it by 15 degrees Celsius means the temperature has to increase by 15 degrees Celsius. So that is delta T. Okay, to warm it by 15 degrees means whatever was the original temperature, it has to rise to, it has to increase to 15 degrees more. Okay, so that is delta T. So very simple, you are asked to find heat energy. You are given C dash, so you should know the formula. So C dash equal to Q upon delta T. So therefore Q is equal to C dash multiplied by delta T. So that is equal to 966 multiplied by 15. So I got Q. What is Q? 14,490 joules. I've got Q. Now the next thing is you have to find the specific heat capacity. Okay, so specific heat capacity is equal to heat capacity, okay, divided by mass. The relation between specific heat C and C dash, C equal to C dash upon M, right? So C equal to, I already got, I already have C dash. C dash is 966 and the mass is 2 kg. So C equal to 966 divided by 2. So 483 joule per kg per Kelvin. Okay, SI units, joule per kg per Kelvin. Ask me if anything is not followed over here. Anybody has any doubts? See, write the 3 equations and keep. Okay, once you write the 3 equations, the formula for heat capacity, the formula for specific heat capacity, everything will fall into place. This worksheet I will post today only on the group. Okay, and by evening I will post one force worksheet which has to be done. This is the solution. Please try to solve today only on your own. I want you to do this today only. Okay, because when it is fresh only you will follow, otherwise after 2 days you will be confused. Any questions in this, just apply formulas, learn the formulas and keep. I know they are confusing, okay, but slowly as you keep on practicing you will become an expert. Yeah, on the first day you're going to get totally confused, right? So don't think that it's very difficult. It's not difficult at all. Last year my 10th standard children, they used to always attempt the sums of this calorimetry, or most of the children, they used to love it, and they used to, I used to tell them, be careful, do not select that question. Okay, even in the prelims and all, I used to give, if you don't know the answer sums, because you will lose 4 marks. But they used to love the sums and they used to attempt them and they used to get full 4 marks. Okay, so if you do it properly, it's a very scoring chapter. I'm telling you, you can easily score in this chapter, because once you understand how the sums are done, then there is no, and definitely sums will come from this chapter. Okay, fine. Now come to the 4th question. Calculate the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 100 gram of copper. So the first thing I wrote is mass equal to 0.1 kg. See children, how I am converting. If you do not convert, if you fail to convert, okay, then let me have a look at everybody. Everyone's video is on? Yes. Piyush, who is missing? Atharva Avsare is not there. Srushti is there. Everyone is there. Akshat is there. Dhruv, Kanchan, Mariam. Okay, fine.
I'm early.
Ali is not there. Okay. So now the 4th one. So as soon as it says mass is 100 grams, so mass is equal to 0.1 kg. Okay, required to raise the temperature from 20 degrees to 70 degrees. So delta T, 70 minus 20. So that is the change in temperature. So 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, specific heat capacity means C is given. C equal to 390 joule per kg per Kelvin. Okay, so what you have to do? You have to calculate Q. Okay, so very simple. What is the formula? Q equal to MC delta T. Learn the formula, very simple. So M is given, C is given, delta T is given. So immediately you get Q, 1950 joules. Simple. Any questions in this? Very simple. Just use the formula. Q equal to mc delta T. That's all. Okay. So when I multiply mass, please remember it has to be converted to kg. Right. Now let's go to the sixth one. Find the time. Yes. Aditya Sunke, your question has come now. Find the time taken by a 500 watt heater. Okay. So if it is written 500 watt, the power of the heater is 500 watt. Okay. You want to raise the temperature of a 50 kg material. So the mass is 50 kg. Okay. Specific heat capacities. Whenever you hear specific heat, the word specific means you're talking of C. Okay. So C is given. Okay. C is equal to 960 joule per kg per Kelvin. Okay. Now the temperature has to rise from 18 to 38. So delta T is 20. Understand? 38 minus 18, that is 20. Right? So now see how I'm going to solve it. You have to calculate the time. Now first, power is equal to energy consumed upon time. Do you know the formula? Power is work done upon time and power is energy consumed upon time. Right? Okay. Now here, first what I do, I find Q, the heat energy, heat energy. So Q equal to mc delta T. Okay. So mass is given. The mass was how much for the mass over here? Seventh one, right? Sixth one. 50 kg, correct. Mass is 50 kg, so here it is 50. M, okay. C is 960, right? So C I have written and delta T was 20, so I calculated Q. Okay, now I have not calculated it. See children, you can see because I have not been asked to tell what is the heat energy. Okay, so I am doing smart calculation. I am not going to find the answer. You will sit and find the answer, no need. Okay, so I'm not calculating. I'm just writing it Q equal to 50 into 960 into 20. Okay, there is some answer. Now power is equal to energy consumed upon time, right? So time is equal to heat energy upon power. If I take time on this side, okay, it is heat energy divided by power. So time is Q upon P, Q divided by P. So therefore time will be Q. Now what is Q? 50 into 960 into 20. So 50 multiplied by 960 multiplied by 20 divided by power. What is the power? 500 watts. So divided by 500. So when you do this division, it will easily get cancelled. Okay. So you will get the answer 1920 seconds. Okay. What answer you will get for time? 1920 seconds. What did I do over here? First I took power. I put the formula for power. Power is either work done upon time or energy consumed upon time. Here there is no electrical energy. When we learned power, we talked about electrical energy. There is no electrical energy here. Here we are having heat energy. So we will use heat energy. So power is heat energy upon time. How do I calculate the heat energy? Heat energy is given by mc delta T. I have all the things with me, mc and delta T. So first I calculate Q. Once I calculate Q, I use this Q in the formula, right? So power is equal to Q upon time. So if I want time, so time is equal to heat energy divided by power. Okay, so Q divided by P, right? So I get 15 to now. See, I have not multiplied this. Okay, why? Because I know I'm going to cancel it. So why multiply it and why should I take the headache for multiplying this? So 50 multiplied by 960 multiplied by 20 divided by 500. So I get the answer 1920 seconds. You divide it by 60, and even if you don't divide by 60, it's okay, but your book is giving you an answer of 32 minutes. So then I divided it by 60 and I got the answer 32 minutes. Yes, Aditya, is it okay? Fine. Dhruv, followed the sum? Easy. I will send you this worksheet. Don't worry. Any questions you can ask. If there are any questions, please ask on this sixth one. Okay, fine. Now let's come to the seventh one. I'm not going to do all the sums. I will do a few important ones, okay, or a few relevant ones only. So now the seventh one, okay. See the seventh one. There is an electric heater of power 600 watts. So I have written the power 600 watts. Raises the temperature of 4 kg. So the mass is 4 kg of liquid from 10 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius. So what is the rise in temperature? Yeah. Yes, Dhruv.
Ma'am.
Who's asking? Yes, Akshat.
Ma'am, not.
Yes, who's asking?
Rishabh is trying to get in.
I already admitted him 2-3 times.
He's there.
He's there. I admitted him 3 times. Third time I admitted him. I don't know what is happening with him. Okay.
I'm having internet issues, that's why.
Okay, fine, no problem. Okay. So the power of the heater is given, right? The power of the heater 600 watts. Okay. Then it raises the temperature of 4 kg of liquid. So the mass is 4 kg from 10 degrees to 15 degrees. Okay. So can you see the rise in temperature? Delta T, 15 minus 10. So that is 5 degrees Celsius. That is the rise in temperature. Okay. Then after that, 100 seconds, the time is given as 100 seconds. Now why the time is given over here? Because power is given. So whenever power will come, you will get time also. Okay. Now you have to find the heat capacity of the liquid, not the specific heat capacity. You are not finding the specific heat capacity. You are finding only the heat capacity of the liquid. So in order to find the heat capacity, it is C dash equal to Q upon delta T. Okay. So C dash equal to Q upon delta T. Now I have to first find Q. How did I find Q? There is no Q given, but you have been given power and you have been given time. Yeah, so power into time. Okay, energy, okay, is equal to power into time. So 600 multiplied by T. So I have got Q as 60,000 joules. So you have got the heat energy Q, 60,000 joule. Okay, so now the heat capacity will be Q upon delta T. So 60,000 divided by 5. Okay, so you get the heat capacity 12,000 joules per Kelvin. 12,000 joules per Kelvin is the heat capacity. The first part is got, right? Now the second part, specific heat capacity of the liquid. Now, how will I find the specific heat capacity? I want someone to give me the answer. How do I find specific heat capacity? I want to find C. How do I find C?
Q upon M delta T.
Q upon M delta T. Okay, good.
Ma'am,
Yes,
C
yes.
dash is equal to MC.
Yes, that is a better answer because I already have C. Okay, so no need of calculating. So same what Mariam has said. So I want specific heat capacity. So C equal to C dash upon M, because as Mariam said, C dash equal to M into C. Very good, Mariam. Okay, Melissa also good, but why should I take the entire thing? I will just take the simple thing. So specific heat C dash equal to M into C. So C equal to C dash upon M. Simple. I already have C dash 12,000. You divide it by the mass 4. So you will get 3,000 joules per kg per degree Celsius. Okay, fine. Simple. Okay, so the sums are simple. Today only I am sending you as soon as my classes get over. Okay, by afternoon I will send you. I have other classes, many classes today. So, but you will go through this today only. You promise me that you will sit and solve all the sums today only. If you are confused, look in the worksheet and solve it. Try to solve it on your own. And if you are confused, then you can look in the worksheet and solve it, right? Okay, 8th one you can do on your own. I'm giving you. Now let's come to the 9th one. Okay, 9th one I think I already did. Again, I'll discuss it for you, the 9th one. Here we are using the principle of calorimetry. These are all important sums. Okay. Now there is a metal of mass 50 grams. Okay. It is at 150 degrees Celsius, right? So the temperature of that metal is 150 degrees Celsius, right? Now it is put in water, which is at 11 degrees Celsius. So the temperature of water. So now this metal, I will take 1 as the subscript for metal. So mass of the metal M1, temperature of the metal also T1. Okay, I will take it like this, and specific heat capacity of the metal also C1. This is how I will take for the metal. And everything from water, you will take the subscript as 2. So mass of water M2, temperature of water T2, and the specific heat capacity of water as C2. So this is how you will calculate for water, right? Now, your how do you calculate now? See, everything is given. Now after that, it is given that it is kept, it is at 150, it is immersed in 100 gram of water. The temperature of water is 11 degrees Celsius. So T2 I have taken 11. Now final temperature of the mixture. After that piece of copper is put in the mixture, the heat is going, that metal is going to lose the heat and water is going to gain the heat. Okay. So the final temperature after some time, it becomes 11 degrees Celsius. The entire mixture is at 11 degrees Celsius. Okay. You have to calculate the specific heat capacity of the metal. That metal, the specific heat capacity is not given. So you have to calculate that. And specific heat capacity of water is already given, 4.2 joules per grams per Kelvin. Okay. So according to the principle of calorimetry or the principle of mixtures, the heat lost by the hot body is equal to heat gained by the cold body. Now here the hot body is the metal. So the heat lost by the metal is equal to heat gained by water. So heat lost by metal M1C1 delta T. Now how do I write delta T? The metal was at higher temperature T1 150 and now it has come down to a temperature 11. So T1 minus T, and heat gained by water. So MC, okay. So mass of water and delta T. Now water, okay, it was at a lower temperature. Okay, the water was at 11 degrees Celsius. It will come to the temperature T, that is 20 degrees Celsius. So T minus T2. So 50 into C1. I do not know the specific heat capacity of the metal. So I write C1. T1 minus T I have written 150 minus this 150, temperature of that particular metal, and it has come to the final temperature 20. It has lost the heat. So 150 minus 20 equal to 100 multiplied by 4.2, and water has come to 20. So 20 minus 11. So you get this equation. You just solve this. This is a linear equation, mathematics, simple mathematics, and you will get the answer. C1 equal to 0.582 joule per gram per Kelvin. Now everything is in grams, children. Now listen, please do not convert this mass of the metal into kg. Okay, why? Because you just read, this is the most important thing. Specific heat capacity of water, if it is given in joule per gram per Kelvin, if it is given in joule per gram per Kelvin, okay. If the specific heat capacity of water is given in joule per gram per Kelvin, so because gram is there, you will not do any conversions. Okay, you will not do any conversion. You will just leave it as grams, right? Okay, so everything is in grams, so no need of doing the conversion, and you will get the answer also in grams. Now we come to the 10th one. This also I had discussed. Over here, we had to find, what did we have to find? We had to find the final temperature of the mixture, right? We had to find out what is the final temperature of the mixture. So again, I will go through because I know that time you were confused. Now this time, okay, what is the question? 45 grams of water at 50 degrees Celsius. There is water at 50 degrees Celsius. What is the mass of water? 45 grams. Now 50 degrees means it is warm water. Okay, the water is warm, right? Now copper is put in that. Okay, the copper is cold. It is at 18 degrees Celsius, right? And it is put in the warm water, 50 grams of copper. So obviously the water is going to lose the heat, right? And copper is going to gain the heat. Now there is going to be an exchange of heat. Because there is going to be exchange of heat, you have to, there will be one temperature, final temperature that will be reached. Okay, till both the bodies are in equilibrium, there will be an exchange of heat. So over here, there will be T. T will be the final temperature which will be reached when there is an exchange of heat. Okay, so you have to find T, the final temperature of the mixture. What will be the final temperature? So according to the principle of calorimetry, heat lost by water, the water is at a higher temperature equal to heat gained by copper. So everything for water I have taken the subscript 2, and for copper I have taken the subscript 1. So M2C2 delta T, temperature of water, higher temperature of water, come back to the equilibrium temperature, that is T, and heat gained by copper M1C1 delta T. So M1C1 and the equilibrium temperature, that is T, minus what was the initial temperature of copper, that is T1. So 45 into 4.2, okay, into 50 minus T. What is 50? The temperature of water. Can you see a temperature of water? T2, 50. So 50 minus T equal to M1. M1 is the temperature mass of copper. Okay, the temperature of copper. Then C1 is the specific heat capacity of copper, 0.39. Okay, and copper from 18 it is going to come to T. So the temperature is going to increase. So that is what I have to find out, T. So I will solve the equation. I think I explained to you how the equation was solved on that day, right? So when you solve, this is just a linear equation. When you solve this equation, you will get T, the answer, 47 degrees Celsius. You should know how to solve the linear equation. So you will get the answer as 47 degrees Celsius. Okay. And this is the final temperature of the mixture. Okay. Fine. Now, one more sum I will do after this. Okay. So most of the sums from this exercise are done. This will be sent today itself, and you have to sit and do the sums today itself. Then only you will understand. Try to do it yourself. Now see the 12th one. The temperature of 600 gram of cold water, okay, rises by 15 degrees Celsius when 300 gram of hot water at 50 degrees is added to it. So, and you have to find the, what was the initial temperature of cold water, right? Now, what is 50 degrees Celsius? The temperature of 600 gram of cold water rises by 15 degrees. So, cold water will come to a particular temperature. So it will come to an equilibrium temperature. This equilibrium temperature, I have said let the temperature of cold water be T2. So the equilibrium temperature minus the temperature of cold water, that is 15 degrees, because the temperature of cold water is rising by 15 degrees. So that is delta T. Whatever is the temperature of the mixture, the equilibrium temperature when it comes, okay, that temperature minus the temperature of cold water, that will come to 15 degrees. Now specific heat capacity of water is C, right? So now heat lost by hot water is equal to heat gained by cold water, right? So heat lost by hot water is M into C into fall in temperature, right? How the temperature falls, okay, is equal to M into C multiplied by the rise in temperature. The cold water, the temperature is going to rise. So mass of hot water is given as 300, okay, right? 300 gram of hot water, okay. Specific heat capacity, both are water. So I'm not putting the value, see, both left hand side and right hand side, both is water, okay. So I'm not putting the value of C because it will get cancelled. This C over here and this C over here will get cancelled, okay. So there is no need of this specific heat capacity at all. So mass of the hot water multiplied by C, it was at 50 degrees, it is going to come down to T degrees, that is the temperature, okay. So 50 minus T, okay, that is the temperature, equilibrium temperature. Mass of the cold water 600 C, and rise in temperature of cold water is going to be 15, okay, that is T minus T2, that is going to be 15, right? So C gets cancelled, okay, right? I take 300 this side, so 600 divided by 300, it becomes 2. Can you see 300 comes in the denominator? So 600 divided by 300, it becomes 2. So 50 minus 10 equal to 2 multiplied by 15. Sorry, 50 minus T equal to 2 multiplied by 15. So 50 minus T equal to 30. So T equal to 20 degrees Celsius. So I got T. Okay, what was T? T is the equilibrium temperature. The temperature, hot water comes down to T and the cold water will rise up to T, right? So T is the equilibrium temperature. So that is 20 degrees. Now you have to find the initial temperature of cold water. What did I say? The initial temperature of cold water. So the initial temperature of cold water was supposed to be T2, right? Let the initial temperature of cold water be T2. And we have written that rise in temperature is 15. So T minus T2. What is T? T is the equilibrium temperature. And initial temperature is risen by 15 degrees. So T minus T2 equal to 15, right? So I have already got T, the temperature, equilibrium temperature of the mixture, that is 20. So 20 minus T2 equal to 15, right? So T2 will be equal to 20 minus 15. So that is 5 degrees. So what was the initial temperature of cold water? It was 5 degrees Celsius. Go through it step by step. I know the numericals are difficult. That is why I took the chapter, because if the difficult chapter is done, then slowly you can practice the numericals. Okay. Go through the numericals step by step. You will follow it easily.
Ma'am, I'm not understanding the last part.
Yeah, this part? This
Yes.
part? Okay, fine. So see here. You understood this part. This is the final temperature which came of the mixture 20 degrees. Now here, see what they have written. They have not given us the temperature of cold water, but they said that the cold water rises. The temperature of cold water rises by 15 degrees. Okay. What does this mean? Whatever is the final temperature of the mixture minus the temperature of cold water, that will become 15 degrees. Okay. So let us say the final temperature of the mixture is 45 degrees Celsius, right? And they are saying temperature of cold water rises by 15 degrees. That means the initial temperature of cold water should be 30 degrees Celsius, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now here, what is the temperature of the mixture that I am getting after the transfer of heat? 20 degrees, right?
Yes.
So rise in temperature of the cold water will be, I said that let the temperature of cold water be T2. So T, that is the temperature of the mixture minus the initial temperature of cold water, T minus T2, just like I said, 45 minus 30, 15, right? So the same way, T minus T2. So what is T? The mixture after the heat is transferred, the temperature of the mixture 20 minus T2. I don't know what is T2, but the rise in temperature of cold water is given 15 degrees. It is given in the sum that it rises by 15 degrees, right? So T minus T2 equal to 15. So 20 minus T2 equal to 15. So T2 equal to 20 minus 15, 5.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So
Yes.
this is a simple one. This exercise, the questions are a lot easier, but the next exercise, they are difficult. Now quickly I'll go through the 13th one. Then I have to discuss some give reasons. Okay. So 13th one, 1 kg of water is contained in a 1.25 kilowatt kettle. Okay, 1.25 kilowatt. The minute you see 1.25 kilowatt, it is power. Remember that it is power. Okay, so the power of the kettle is 1.25 kilowatt. That is 1250 watts. Okay, now specific. Now see here, there is a problem here. Everyone, good sum it is. Now after this, they have given the mass of the water as 1 kg. Everyone look here. Where is the catch? Mass of the water is given as 1 kg, but the specific heat capacity has been given in grams. Can you see 4.2 joule per gram per kg? Now you have to learn both the heat capacities of water. One is in gram. If you are talking in gram, it is 4.2. But if you are talking in terms of kg, it is 4,200 kg. Remember that. So mass of the water is given in kg and the specific heat capacity of water is given in joule per gram. So I take the specific heat capacity of water in kg. Okay, so 4200 joule per kg. So I will take the specific heat capacity in kg. Okay, why? Because mass is given in kg. So that is the catch. Please remember, always see if the mass is given in kg and the heat capacity is given in grams, then you write the value in kg, right? Now power of the kettle, as I said, it is given, so we converted into watts, 1250. Now energy, power into time, so Q equal to 1250 into time, right? So this is Q. But we also know Q equal to MC delta T. What is the mass of the water? 1 kg. What is the specific heat capacity? Here, 4200. And what is delta T? So they have given that the temperature rises from 25 degrees to 100 degrees. So that is delta T. So 100 minus 25. So Q equal to 1 to Q equal to power into time and Q equal to MC delta T. So I will equate both the equations. Both are Q. So 1250 multiplied by T equal to 4200. 100 minus 25, 75. So equal to 4200 multiplied by 75. Okay. So therefore T will be equal to 4200 multiplied by 75 divided by 1250. So when I divide it, I will get the answer T equal to 252 seconds, right? So you can convert it into minutes. Again, I'm going through. First thing, what was the catch? Mass of the water is given in kg. Specific heat of the water is given in joule per gram. So I have to have everything in the same unit. Okay. So remember, please write and keep somewhere specific heat capacity of water in grams if I have 4.2, and if it is to be converted to kg, 4200. Okay. Now power of the kettle is given 1250 watt. So using this, I take the formula for energy, power into time. So Q equal to 1250 multiplied by T. I have to find T. Also Q equal to MC delta T. I've got mass, I've got specific heat capacity C, and delta T also I have got, because it said that the rise in temperature is from 25 to 100 degrees. So I equate both the equation, both is heat energy, both are heat energies, Q and Q. So 1250 multiplied by T equal to this. So I get this, right? So T will be equal to 4200 into 75 upon this. So you will get the answer of T. Next session, I will again open the worksheet. After you all solve whatever doubts you have, whatever you have not followed, whatever doubts you have and whatever you have not followed, okay, you will ask me, okay, before I start with the change of phase. Okay, that is also an important concept of calorimetry, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this exercise is there. Now there are some few, everyone is there? Okay, there are some few give reasons that are there. Okay, they are very important. The give reasons are like this. Okay, natural phenomena and consequences of high specific heat capacity of water. Still 10 more minutes are there, so I can just complete this.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Dhruv's laptop crashed, so he will rejoin later.
Okay.
I rejoined already.
Rejoined, okay.
Okay, it crashed and it again came up. Good. Fine. Now, let us see the natural phenomena. Now, the first thing that is, as I told you, okay, the climate near the seashore, as I had told you, see, water has got a very high specific heat capacity. Children, try to understand, because of the high specific heat capacity, it is a bad conductor. It is not a very good conductor of heat, okay? So, it takes a very long time to get heated up. If I have to heat water, it will take a very long time to get heated up. And similarly, it will take a very long time to lose the heat also. If I have to cool water and if I have to make it ice also, it will not lose the heat easily. It will not freeze easily. It will take a very long time to lose the heat, and it will take a very long time to gain the heat. Okay, fine. So because of this, okay, there are certain things which are there, okay, give reasons, okay. One thing is that the climate near the seashore is very much moderate. Why is it moderate? Because it is balanced. Okay, the sand, it is there on page number 266, all the give reason. The sand becomes hot, very hot due to the high specific heat capacity, but the water that is there, okay, that does not become very hot because it takes a long time to get hot because it has a high specific heat capacity. So because of that, okay, you can easily go into the water and you can have a nice chilling effect, okay, if the sand is warm. So that is why the atmosphere is moderate. Now, hot water bottles are used for fomentation. You know what is fomentation? Sometimes you have muscle cramps or something is paining. Let us say my arm is paining, okay. So there is a hot water bottle, okay, which is there in which you fill water, okay, hot water, and then you keep it and you go on warming yourself, okay, you feel much better. Now, if you see, you can use that hot water bottle for a very long time. It will not become cool immediately, okay. You can use it for at least half an hour or more than that. Yes. Yes, Dhruv.
I mean, it was what?
Yes, Dhruv.
Specific heat capacity.
Good. I'm not able to hear you. Yes. So water has a high specific heat capacity. So when I put it in that hot water bottle, the water will remain hot for a very long time. So I can easily keep it on my arm. Okay. I can easily keep it on my arm and I can have a nice warmth on my arm if it is aching or something like that. Okay. So that is the second give reason. The third give reason, it is used as an effective coolant in cars. Why? Because water wants to become warm, so the water is used as a coolant because it will go on extracting heat. Okay, see, instead of water, if I take something else, it will reach the boiling point very soon, so it will extract very less heat. Okay, but for water to reach a particular temperature, it needs a lot of heat. So whatever are the heated parts, it will keep on extracting heat from there. Okay, so in turn, the other parts of the car will keep becoming cool. Okay, so that is why it's used as an effective coolant. Then in cold countries, okay, let us say you have a juice bottle or a wine bottle, right? It is chilled. Okay, as it is, the temperature is very much cold. Okay, the temperature is below the freezing point, right? Now if I have a bottle which is kept on the table, that liquid will also chill. Okay, it will also become ice, right? So that, let us say I have a juice bottle. Okay, that juice will become ice if I have kept it on the table because the atmosphere is so cold. So if I keep it in water, okay, what is going to happen? The temperature of water has to go on decreasing because the juice bottle is very cold. Okay, the juice is there, but it is very cold. But what happens? It takes a very long time for the temperature of the water to come down. Okay, so that juice bottle will remain warm in that water. Okay, why? Because the temperature of water to come down due to high specific heat capacity, it takes a very long time, right? So because of that, the juice bottle will not freeze and it will remain warm in the water for a long period. Okay, so there are all these examples, like even in the fields. Okay, what happens? In the night there is water, right? Due to the cold, if the water starts freezing in the fields, okay, then what will happen? All the plants, they will get destroyed, all the roots and all will get destroyed, right? So the farmers, they put water in the fields at night where it is very cold because they know that water will not freeze easily. It will absorb the heat, but it will not freeze easily. Due to the high specific heat capacity of water, it takes a long time to freeze. It takes a very long time to freeze. Okay, so due to this, the water will not freeze easily and it can easily, the crops can be easily saved. So these are all regarding water. Now, high and low heat capacity. Now, children, when your mother is using some pan to make something, you see the bottom of the pan, it's very thick. Okay, especially those non-stick cooking pans, if you see, first things that they are non-stick, and if you look at the bottom part, it is very nice and thick. Now why this bottom part is thick? Because if the bottom part would be thin, okay, then the heat capacity will be very low, so it will keep on transferring heat to the contents, and the contents, they will just burn off easily. Okay, the heat should be transferred very slowly to the contents. Okay, so if the water pan is the pan which you are using is thick, having a thick bottom, the heat capacity of that particular pan will become less. Okay, and because of that, the heat that is supplied up, it will be very slow. So because the heat capacity, the heat supplied is slow, the things that are there in the pan will not burn. So these are some examples. Okay, same is the electric press and all. Now the third one is very important. Children, learn it by heart. Page 267, always asked in the exam. Third one, vessel used for the measurement of heat, that is calorimeter. Why is it made up of copper? Thin sheets of copper. First one, copper has a low specific heat capacity. Okay, so because of that, it becomes a good conductor. Okay, so it takes very less amount of heat from the content. See, in a calorimeter, we are trying to see that the heat should not be taken by anything else. I am trying to see that if I put a metal in that, how much heat has been gained by water. But remember, the calorimeter is also there. Calorimeter is also going to extract heat. If I put a hot metal in water, the metal is going to give heat to water also, and it is going to give heat to the calorimeter also. Try to understand, because calorimeter is also in contact. So if a lot of heat is taken up by the calorimeter, then I will not know how much heat has been transferred between the metal and water. So the calorimeter has to be made such that it will take very less amount of heat. So because of that, it is made up of copper, which has a very low specific heat capacity. So immediately it attains the temperature of that mixture, okay, with very negligible heat. So we can know how much heat has been transferred from one place to the other. So I think it was a very tough session. Okay, you must be really tired. But I have to complete my. So children, did you understand today? As I told
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
okay, just go through the numericals. First thing, what you are going to do, learn the formula. Learn the formula
Yes, ma'am.
of C, learn the formula of C dash, okay? Learn the relation between C and C dash. Write this formula somewhere and keep on looking at it, learn that. And learn the formula of principle of calorimetry. Only 4 formulas are there. Learn these formulas. These formulas are clear. Everything will be clear. You can solve it yourself, okay? You don't even have to look at my question.